All right, everybody, welcome to Talking Taker, episode number 32 of our encyclopedic exploration, digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time. We appreciate you tuning in, downloading, joining us on another round of Dead Man Talking. My name is Alex Dorio. I am one of your co-hosts, one of the creatures of the night here, and I am joined, as always, by a man who's not quite 32, but will be soon, joining me in the 32 Club. My friend, my buddy, my wrestling partner, my wrestling buddy, Travis White. Travis, are you ready for one of the greatest periods in the history of the World Wrestling Federation, as Doc Hendricks would say?
Oh man, I'm ready as ever. This is going to be so exciting. I'm super stoked to talk about this match, all the build up to this match. Everything. This was such a fun event to go back and research and watch all this stuff. So I really hope you listeners have as good a time as we do watching this, because we would both highly recommend you watch every single Raw in between Royal Rumble and Final Four.
Oh man,
lots to talk about. Buckle up. This may be a long episode. We don't have these things timed out. We don't know. We'll see at the end here. We'll try to not to flap our gums too much, but there's so much to talk about in the build up to this match. So much.
This is really we're gonna get next month to the birth of Raw is War officially, as Monday Night Raw changes over to the Raw is War format, the set, the big Titantron, the Raw of the Attitude Era that we would know and love. But really, the evolution of it really kicks off right here in February. And we're going to get to the first ever 2-hour episode of Raw here on this episode of Talking Taker. But really just the wild and crazy, the template of Monday Night Raw, Raw's War that we would know and love, really almost to this day even, is going to be born right here. And that all kicks off on January 20th, the Raw right after Royal Rumble 1997. This episode is historic. To me, it's one of the best episodes of Raw in history, man.
Hands down.
All time. And
hands down.
We last left off, last week we had our Royal Rumble watch along. So we had the chaos of the Royal Rumble going on there. It ends in controversy, the Royal Rumble match itself, with Stone Cold being eliminated, but the referee's not seeing it, and he's able to come back in and eliminate The Undertaker, Vader, and Bret Hart to actually end up becoming the official winner of the 1997 Royal Rumble, even though technically it should have been Bret Hart. But Stone Cold wins and eliminates 3 people unfairly to win the Royal Rumble, which leads into the storyline for the pay-per-view that we're going to cover on this episode, In Your House Final 4. So that's where we left things off, and Raw January 20th kicks off in wild and crazy fashion as Bret the Hitman comes out, complains about the unfair ending, and quits the World Wrestling Federation.
Well, he comes out he comes out cold. Like, there's no opening, no music. Everything nowadays is so produced. You know who's coming out because they play the music, which I understand. They want the response from the crowd, but this felt real.
Exactly.
It felt, again, we talked the other week about how NWO felt real and gritty, and WWF here is kind of not stealing that, but kind of moving toward that direction, and they're going to wind up doing it better, eventually. But this is really the kickoff to that, in my opinion, because Bret just comes walking down the aisle. No music, no pomp and circumstance. It's really cool. And again, there's a story told through this entire episode of Raw, and it makes you not want to change the channel. I actually looked at the results of Nitro from this night, and Nitro actually won. But if you look at it, it's a bunch of 2-3 minute matches, not a really cool stuff. They were just kind of riding high. This is WWF actually trying to win the ratings war. They're doing a great job. Yeah, Bret Hart comes out, talks to Vince McMahon, and winds up quitting. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like I'm going to get my opportunity for a shot at the World Wrestling Federation Championship belt. So I quit.
Yeah, he says, I quit.
I remember watching this live. I was on the edge of my seat watching this. I was a huge Bret Hart fan. Bret Hart actually gets booed as he comes out and complains. But, man, I was a team Bret Hart all the way. I did think he got screwed out of it.
Sure.
I was not on board Stone Cold yet. Stone Cold was kind of toeing the line. He was still a heel, but a lot of people were cheering for him. I wasn't ready to yet.
Right.
I still thought he was the bad guy. Bret Hart was the good guy. I believed in what Bret Hart was saying, which is what made Bret Hart such an amazing heel in 1997, because he was justified in almost everything he was saying. He was a jerk about it, which made people boo him. But, you can make a case for everything he was saying. That's what the best villains in really any stories are. Comic books, movies, anything. They're justified. They have a point. They just go about proving it in the wrong way. But I was still on Bret Hart's side here, and it was unbelievable, man. They play it like a shoot. Vince McMahon gets up and leaves commentary to go try to talk to him. Stone Cold comes out and says he's ready to fight The Undertaker. They're supposed to have a match later on in the show, and it's just...
it was supposed to be Sid, but Sid's concussed or whatever from the match the night before. So he says, bring on Undertaker. But Stone Cold gets a lot of cheers when he comes out here. It's kind of mixed reaction. It's kind of cool to see him getting this, this groundswell of cheers. So,
we find out, like you said, the storyline goes through the whole show, and we find out that President Gorilla Monsoon is going to announces that the main event for the next In Your House, the Final Four, we're going to put the WWF Championship opportunity for WrestleMania on the line that Stone Cold earned. He's going to have to put it on the line in a fatal four-way match against the three guys that he threw over the top rope unfairly: Vader, The Undertaker, and Bret the Hitman Hart. So they're going to have a Final Four, fatal four-way match, and the winner is going to go to WrestleMania to face the WWF champion, Shawn Michaels. That's the original plan.
Right, that's the plan at this point. Poor fake Diesel, right? I mean, he was in the match as well. He got dumped out by Bret. So
exactly, he got fairly eliminated, but technically he was actually in the Final Four more than Vader was.
Well, thank God for us that he's not in this match, because this build is awesome, the match is awesome, but he would have really stunk to play this up. Not because we had nothing against Kane, but that fake Diesel was crap.
Yeah,
so.
It would not have worked. No.
But anyway, it's cool, and again, like you said, the plan at this point is these four guys, fatal four-way, no disqualification. We're gonna get the more rules later on as we go, but you get the number one contender because you're gonna face either Sid or Shawn at Mania, and everyone at this time watching, I'm sure you probably did too, expects Bret and Shawn at Mania, right? I mean, you gotta have a sequel from last year, WrestleMania 12 Iron Man match. Gotta have a sequel next year.
On the next week's episode of Raw, we'll talk about that here in a minute, but Bret and Shawn have this promo with each other, and it seems pretty clear that was the plan.
Right.
They're cutting a promo on each other in the middle of the ring, and it seems pretty obvious that is what's supposed to happen at WrestleMania 13, that rematch. We'll talk about that more in a second, but yeah, absolutely. And Bret Hart does... go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so once Gorilla announces this match for Final Four or whatever, Stone Cold comes out with no music. Again, it seems real. It seems like legit shoot. There's no glass break, nothing. He just comes out, walks down the aisle. He comes in the ring. He's like, he's talking to Vince, getting in Vince's face, and then this is when Bret Hart comes back in through the crowd.
Right.
Again, makes it seem real. He left through the crowd. He's not coming from the locker room. He's coming back to the crowd. Gets in the ring, and he says, I accept. And he just starts beating the crap out of Austin.
It was great.
Again, and these guys are not pulling any punches here, man. It's awesome. It looks so authentic, I'm marking out as a 31-year-old. You're like, go for it, get it. It's so cool.
Yeah, man, it still holds up.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what does not hold up, though, is this commercial that keeps airing for the Full Metal, the album.
All right, kid. Let's see what you got.
WWF Full Metal, the album. The entrance themes of your favorite WWF superstars.
This tune makes me want to mod.
Full Metal, the album.
Yeah.
It's Freddie Blassie alone in a music studio playing WWF theme songs for like a 10-year-old boy who's dressed up as Shawn Michaels and stripping for Freddie Blassie, and then dressed up as Goldust and touching himself alone in a room as Freddie Blassie watches and plays music. Doesn't hold up, man. A little weird.
It doesn't. Oh man, yeah, that's awful. It is pretty bad. That's wrong back then. This shouldn't have passed back then.
Yep.
But so as getting back to Raw, as Austin and Bret are brawling here, Undertaker comes out, with broken ribs, says
yeah.
JR, I believe. Because remember, the night before, he impales himself on the, as we pointed out.
Yeah, it impaled him through the ribs.
Yeah. Comes out with broken ribs and starts beating on Bret in the aisle, which is kind of cool, you know?
Yep, they're all, it's chaos. Everybody's fighting everybody. You've never seen anything on Monday Night Raw like this. You've really never seen anything in the WWF like this before. It's awesome. It's a little bit like WCW with the NWO,
Yeah.
the chaos that they caused, and WWF is jumping on board with that in their own way. Yep.
And another thing that made it feel real is JR, he mentions that, the night before when Undertaker chokeslammed the sandbag referee, he said, just want to let all you listeners and watchers know that the Undertaker was fined all of his pay from Royal Rumble last night. So I just thought, that's cool. That's one thing nowadays, they don't put your hands on a ref. Even back in the day, you put your hands on a ref, they find you or whatever. It made it seem real. It doesn't seem to do that much nowadays. But yeah, it made it seem authentic. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I
like
wrote that
touch
down
with
too.
JR.
I appreciated that. They never do stuff like that anymore. Did you notice JR also called Undertaker tougher than a government mule?
Yes, he did.
I think that's the first time I've heard him say that.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. It was awesome.
So yeah, Undertaker fights Stone Cold Steve Austin on here, and as you said, the ribs of Undertaker are injured, and Jerry the King Lawler makes that very clear as through the entire match. He just screams, "Go for the ribs! Go for the ribs! Go for the ribs!" And he's like, he says, "I'm gonna go tell Steve." He stands up and he's gonna go be Steve Austin's manager. Keeps telling him to go for the ribs, man. I don't know what that was
awesome.
about. Yeah,
and during the match, they cut to the back, and Vader and Bret are jaw-jacking with each other, and they start brawling, or no, verbally sparring. That's right. They're just talking, jaw-jacking with each other. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
and then Vader comes back.
Right,
he and Paul Bearer come back in this match with Austin and Taker, which I guess was this the third time we've seen them wrestle on Raw?
Taker and Steve Austin. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It's the third time we've seen them wrestle. So yeah, Vader and Paul Bearer come out and interfere, which gives Taker the DQ victory, right?
I think so.
Because they start attacking him, I believe. Yeah, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but Vader gets a hit with the huge choke slam. Yeah. Bret Hart comes out now, and all four of them are brawling. All four of the final four guys are brawling as we fade to black. So pretty cool. Yeah, just so chaotic. Stories threaded throughout the entire episode. Again, it seems legit. Other matches are taking place, but they're not quite as important as this. This is the focus of the whole episode. Yep. Really, really, really neat. Both of you, I think, would highly recommend any fan go watch this episode of Raw. Again, it's January 20th, 1997.
Yeah,
awesome.
It hooks you, man. It makes me want to see this match even 20 years later. It's awesome. So the next week, January 27th, as I said already, Bret and Shawn are having a promo in the ring with each other. Shawn Michaels, the storyline is that in a couple weeks on special Thursday Raw Thursday, I guess because of, I don't know if it was tennis or dog
Westminster,
show.
I think it was dog show. It's
dog
February.
show
So yeah, dog show is always February.
So the dog show preempts Monday Night Raw, so they're going to move it to Thursday Raw Thursday. And on that episode, Shawn Michaels is going to face Sid in a rematch, their third match for the WWF Championship. All right, that's the big storyline. So Bret Hart comes out and he says that he's basically already cutting a promo on Shawn Michaels for WrestleMania. Yeah. And Vince McMahon keeps having to remind him, he's got to beat Sid first.
Right.
Neither one of them are talking about Sid, but Vince McMahon is like, guys, come on.
Yeah.
We got a match to build up.
They're pretty much telegraphing the main event of WrestleMania at this point. But yeah, Vince is doing his darndest to try to you can't count Sid out here. It's not going to match it. Thursday, Raw Thursday. So,
which I wanted to ask you. I don't know if you read anything about this. Who do you think The Undertaker would have fought at this WrestleMania if Bret and Shawn were to face each other? If that plan would have worked out, who would The Undertaker have been dancing with?
I think it would have been either. I think it still would have been Sid or Austin. Honestly, I think it would have been one of those two, because I think that the plan seems to be, and in the dirt sheet seems to be, Shawn and Bret, and then Austin's going to be Bret's first opponent after WrestleMania. They're going to go to that, but they had to wind up pushing all that up a month because of what's about to happen. We're going to talk about. So I think that Taker would have still fought Sid, maybe for number one contender or something, or have fought Austin again. Which again, both of those would have been fine.
Yeah,
we still get Sid, but
yeah.
What do you think?
I think both those make sense. I didn't think of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I thought of Sid and then maybe Vader too. I thought they could have pushed that another month to WrestleMania. But yeah, it's interesting to think about.
They could have done he and Vader again and then done Sid and Austin even. You know, that would have made sense. So whatever. Anyway, doesn't matter because
it will never know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Undertaker interrupts Bret Hart and Shawn, and he cuts a really cool promo here because Bret Hart is already emphasizing how much he's been screwed by the WWF, which is just amazing. Like, it makes you think as you're watching this that there's a chance that the Montreal Screwjob, it could have been a work after all these years. Because if you watch through all these Raws, it's just too perfect of a storyline to have it work out.
I know.
But yeah, Bret Hart didn't just talk about being screwed in the later part of 97. He's already talking about it's a big part of his storyline here. And Undertaker comes out and says, you want to talk about being screwed? Look at all the stuff I've gone through. And he references last year's Royal Rumble, how he does. Bret Hart beat, but Diesel interfered, and he never got a fair rematch for all of that. And he says that it's time for the WWF Championship to come home to the dark side.
But I'm getting sick and tired of how you've been screwed out of the World Wrestling Federation title.
Yeah, me
If
too.
you want to talk about screwed, you look at my history. You look back at last year's Royal Rumble. That is rightfully mine.
He's got a point.
Now, I've sat back too long, and I've let everybody go their own way. But I think it's time that comes to the dark side.
Again, Vince McMahon is like, by the way, Sid still has to face Shawn Michaels in a couple weeks. Don't forget about that.
Oh, yeah, Vince is trying to keep it together, man. It's great. I love that he keeps having to remind them.
Yeah.
P.S. Still got Sid here hanging out. So, but yeah, it's cool. But there's another thing, too. He says that he's no longer going to be the hunter. It's Taker. He says, I'm no longer going to be the hunter. I'm going to be the hunter. And he tells Shawn, he points out, he says, give your soul to the Lord because your title and your body belong to me. Which, this wasn't a scripting thing. But, as we all know, Shawn does give his heart to the Lord and becomes a Christian. And in 2002, he comes back and he's a completely different guy from who we see here. I just thought it was fun. And then, again, their storyline later on in WrestleManias, we're going to talk about later, the whole dark and light thing. I just thought it was neat. Obviously, there was no foreshadowing for, like, storytelling wise, but just in hindsight we can look back and say, oh, that was kind of neat. So but there's some boos from the crowd though when Undertaker says all this stuff. I thought it was kind of different. The crowd doesn't know what to do. There's these four guys. Well, four guys. All four of these guys are kind of. I mean, Austin's supposed to be a heel, but the other three, Shawn, Taker, and Bret, are all supposed to be baby faces here. And then Vader's obviously a heel too.
Vader's clearly a heel.
The match, but
then Sid's
supposed to be it's very strange. The audience is very conflicted. You get in these shades of gray type stuff, and attitudes are changing. The way people are talking, the way people are acting, that's going to come into play here as we continue to tell this story on the way to Final Four. So.
Well, the King clearly thinks Stone Cold is still a heel because Stone Cold comes out and interrupts here, and the King goes through a list of all the things that Stone Cold does. He says Stone Cold likes to park in handicapped spaces. He likes to pledge money to telethons and not give it. And he likes to give lost people directions and leave out a few steps. That's the kind of guy Steve Austin is. So, in case you were wondering. Which reminded me of our friend Josh Gibbs, something he once did to lost people on the streets of Atlanta. As we went to go see Backlash 2007 in Atlanta, and we were walking back to our friend's house where we were staying for the night, and a guy pulled over and asked us how to get back to the interstate. And Josh just started giving him random directions. I had no idea what he was talking about, but it was just saying, you pull down to this street, take a left, and then when you get to that red light, you're going to take a right, and that should take you right there. And the guy
was so grateful. The guy was so grateful. Thanks so much. And we turned around. Josh, you have any idea what you just told him? Nope. All right.
Just like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Exactly. Yeah. As Austin's over, as he's giving this little promo in the aisle, because again, everybody else is in the ring. Austin's in the aisleway with JR. JR's his personal interviewer, I guess, because over his shoulder, you see in the dark Vader and Paul Bearer over the shoulder. It's kind of a cool shot, you know, like almost like a movie monster villain, you know, and you see him, and then as Austin walks back up to the entranceway, he and Vader start mouthing off. I don't think they come to blows, but they start kind of jaw-jacking a little bit. So, and that's the story told throughout that episode of Raw. So,
and I think that segment is like the template for the 20-minute interview segment that we've seen on Raw, you know, ever since then, with everybody interrupting each other, coming out, saying their piece. Pretty neat to see that. So, go ahead.
And on this episode of Raw, Vince McMahon keeps saying, join us next week for Royal Rumble Raw, Royal Rumble Raw, Royal Rumble Raw. We're gonna show you the Royal Rumble in its entirety, the actual match, not the whole pay-per-view, but the actual Royal Rumble match. Here's all the controversy while we're building to Final Four. Here's how Steve Austin won but didn't really win. We're gonna show you a Royal Rumble Raw next week on February 3rd. Well, here we go. It's February 3rd, 1997. It's Royal Rumble Raw. Show opens with the last minute and a half of the match.
Right.
And we see the controversy, and that's how Raw opens. We don't see the first 59 minutes of this match. We see the last minute and a half or whatever it is. So, yeah, go ahead. This show's weird.
No, I mean, it is weird. Yeah, they call it Royal Rumble Raw. It takes place from the Sky Dome in Toronto, which, I mean, and you explained this to me. I didn't realize this, but it looks weird. All right, when you go back and watch this, the lighting is terrible, the sound is terrible. It looks kind of cool because they're in Sky Dome. It's a huge crowd.
It's big,
for Monday Night Raw, and you're thinking, well, why is Raw in the Sky Dome? And I didn't realize this. Tell me what you learned about it.
Yeah, so what I learned about it, because if you guys, listeners, go back and watch this, again, I would encourage you, again, as we said, watch every Raw up here to the build-up. It's awesome. But this one is so unique because, it looks like you're watching VHS from like 1988 when you put this on the network. But apparently what happened is, so Vince McMahon's plan was to play the entire Royal Rumble match. Well, the pay-per-view providers moaned and complained to USA Network saying, don't give that match away for free. What's the point? Like, that's where we draw our revenue from. So they moaned and complained so much that USA asked Vince to change his mind and do something else. They would give him a 2-hour slot still. It was supposed to be a special 2-hour Raw. They give him a 2-hour slot, but he had to do something else. So this show that seems like it's actually a Monday Night Raw is actually a house show from Toronto. They film all the house shows back then. A lot of times for Coliseum Video. It probably was going to be a Coliseum release. I bet it was.
Yeah, it could have been.
Because that's just speculation on my part, but because it's such a big, cool, like, neat atmosphere. But this was a house show, and as we go through the episode, there's not too much build here with regards to Undertaker to this match, but the other people do have some build to the main event or Final Four. But that's what happened, and that's why there's no. It's not the whole episode or the whole match of Royal Rumble. They're just splicing these little clips in throughout the episode of Raw here. It's the first 2-hour Raw, though, but they're splicing the little clips from the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, even other matches and stuff like that throughout there. But that's what happened with Royal Rumble Raw. That's why it wasn't what it was supposed to be.
And it's definitely not a bait and switch. Definitely not.
Right.
No, not at all.
Vince McMahon's word of the day this morning was bait and switch. So he goes on and on about this is not a bait and switch. At the World Wrestling Federation, we don't give you a bait and switch. You know, he's basically talking about something must have happened on Nitro
I think this is. I'm not sure. I think this is when Nitro promised that Hogan was going to fight the Giant or something like that.
Okay, I think so.
And then it went on into
Yes.
the episode of Robin Hood,
Yes.
which happened.
Yes.
This premiere, and so they showed clips of it during the commercial breaks of the first episode of the Robin Hood series on WCW. I think that's what this is.
I believe you're exactly right. So, yeah, Vince is putting over this is not a bait and switch. We're not bait and switch here in the World Wrestling Federation. Meanwhile, this is a bait and switch. It's not the Royal Rumble. If you're supposed to tune in, there's no internet. Well, there is internet, but not as most people weren't privy to it like they are now. So no one's going to go online and see, we're going to get screwed out of the episode of Raw. So
right.
This is a bait and switch to the casual fan, you know?
Of course it is.
So.
But I mean, also, there's not going to be Robin Hood after Monday Night Raw, but there's going to be some episodes of La Femme Nikita, so everybody needs to stay tuned for that.
Double episode.
Double episode of La Femme Nikita. Can't
the
miss
number
that.
one show on cable. Whatever. No way.
I've never once in my life watched La Femme Nikita. I watched every episode of Raw, but never once watched La Femme Nikita.
Yeah.
Undertaker does fight on this show. He fights in a tag team match with his partner Ahmed Johnson against the Nation of Domination leader Farouk in Mankind. And Ahmed Johnson cuts a promo in the middle of the show backstage with
I need subtitles, man.
Oh,
I need subtitles.
Well, he says his new catchphrase, which is,
You know what, JR? I got something in store for everybody, including you and Vince. Because guess what? I don't take my Prozac anymore. And when I get off Prozac, brother, you don't know what might happen.
That's got to be a T-shirt, man.
You're not gonna like me off my Prozac.
I don't take my Prozac anymore.
Yeah. Just so you know, JR, I don't take my Prozac anymore. What?
That's not healthy, bro.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing.
It's doctor prescribed. Please take it.
And Undertaker interrupts him, and because Ahmed Johnson's going to run out and do something in the middle of the show, and Undertaker says, "Don't do it now, but I'll have your back later on when they fight." So they have, it's kind of a wild little brawl with this tag team match. It's not too bad of a match. Vader ends up interfering, and he actually accidentally hits Mankind with a chair. Which actually happened a couple weeks before Mankind accidentally hit Vader with a chair. So there's already dissension between Paul Bearer's two clients right there.
Yeah.
And then Vader hits Undertaker with a chair. Undertaker just no-sells it, and he gives a tombstone. I just wrote tombstone on chair, so I don't remember who Undertaker tombstone.
He tombstones Mankind.
Mankind. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
It's a good tombstone too. It looks really cool. It looks really cool. Yeah, and I just wrote that it's Mankind and Farouk versus Undertaker and Ahmed Johnson in his exposed right butt cheek. Again, it's his right cheek this week that's exposed. Okay. He's got more pads on again.
Always.
He's got so much padding, but not on his cheeks again. I don't know. But I do want to mention something. Okay, so in all seriousness, because the beginning of Talking Taker podcast, we talked about the changes on Undertaker, the things he would add to his character, how much Vince loved him, and you could tell he was getting all this production stuff into him. I want to point out one other thing. We haven't seen too much that. We've seen his character change as far as like his wrestling is more serious. We haven't seen a lot of things with regards to pyro or production, except for the UFO. But apparently that wasn't just for him. That was just for other people too. But I want to say here, when he comes out, he raises his arms to raise the lights. Fireworks go off on the 4 ring posts. So they're really small, like Gilbert sparklers, but they do go off. I just thought that was kind of a neat little thing, And again, I was kind of like, why is this on Monday Night Raw? But again, once I found out it was a house show, I was like, oh, okay. But I just thought it was pretty neat, pretty cool there. When he raises his arms there, and I want to touch on one thing that happened too before this match at this Thursday or at this Royal Rumble Raw is that Austin's supposed to have a match with Vader. Again, we're talking a lot about all the participants here, not just Undertaker, because it's built into a fatal 4-way match.
Right,
so
exactly.
we're not just trying to focus on the WWF at the time. We're really trying to build up all the characters as they go to this match with Taker. So Austin's supposed to fight Vader in one of those tough man contests like you're talking about, the heel to heel.
Right.
And Bret just comes in out of nowhere and beats the crap out of Austin. Again, such a heel move, but he's in Toronto, so he's the most over baby face there is. Austin stuns a ref, which I just wrote accidental face turn because the crowd pops for that. They love it, man. They love that. They wound up interacting a little bit more later on, and Bret winds up flicking off Shawn. Just double birds him, and that gets a huge pop from the crowd as well. Again, you're seeing these supposed good guys act like, I don't know, 7-year-old entitled children, but like that's it's not like not real life, but their characters are, you're seeing Shawn do this. You're seeing that's Austin. That is Austin's character. You're seeing Bret, the stand-up good guy, flick people off and interfere and attack people from behind. And Undertaker's, choke slamming referees and stuff. And Vader's just a bully. So
it's attitude,
again,
pal.
They're obviously building Bret and Shawn here, at Mania. So.
Well, then all the plans get thrown in the toilet, get thrown in a blender, mixed up all together, thrown up in the air. on Thursday, Raw Thursday. So within a matter.
Can you repeat that again? What night was it on?
I believe it was on Thursday. Thursday, Raw Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's done. He says Thursday, Raw Thursday. Well, just to let Vince McMahon's not there for subtlety. It's Thursday, Raw Thursday. Just call it Thursday Night Raw.
No way, man. Thursday, Raw Thursday.
Yeah.
Not Thirsty Raw Thursday, but
no.
Yeah, Thursday, Raw Thursday. Everything has changed here because Shawn Michaels has decided to forfeit the WWF Championship. Now, obviously, there's been a million podcasts, dirt sheets, all that stuff talking about why Shawn Michaels has dropped the title. Apparently, he says it was because of a knee injury. He's lost his smile. He cuts a promo here, the infamous "Lost My Smile" promo. I need to go find it. He tearfully surrenders the WWF Championship. Of course, he is back and wrestling again within a couple months, so we don't know how serious really his knee injury, quote unquote, was. There's a lot of speculation as to why he actually leaves. He actually forfeits the title. Yeah, does he really just not want to give it up to Bret Hart?
Job to Bret at Mania.
Yeah, we'll never know the full answers, I guess, what actually happened. But the important part is that the WWF backstage is in chaos. Like, Vince McMahon doesn't know what to do, who to trust. All the plans are getting thrown up in the air. And I believe it's because of this, in my opinion, that The Undertaker ends up with the title for most of 1997 because Vince McMahon sees someone he can rely on, sees stability in The Undertaker. Shawn Michaels is not stable. Bret Hart
was gone for 6 months last year.
He was.
Not knowing what he's going to do.
And Vince probably is already thinking he doesn't know how much longer he can hold on to Bret Hart. He's made this ridiculous 20-year contract thing that he's going to end up letting him out of here towards the end of the year. So Vince McMahon decides, in this moment, we don't get to it here for another few weeks, but probably
Sid's got softball practice.
Yeah, Sid's gone right after WrestleMania. So he sees that Undertaker's going to have to be the guy. So this is a historic episode, and it's the
really cool
pivotal turning point for what we see with The Undertaker. Although we don't see it right away, it's the reason why The Undertaker ends up with the WWF Championship. So
it's so cool, man. I want one thing about this episode too. The week before on Royal Rumble Raw, Vince McMahon ends the episode saying, he says, as the expression goes, you ain't seen nothing until you join us for Thursday Raw Thursday, 1 week from this Thursday night. What? Is that the expression?
That's the expression. We always say that.
This episode, Thursday Raw Thursday, it has a different opening than Monday Night Raw, which is cool. Different music, I think, as well. It opens up, boom, game changer. Okay, think about it, WWF at this time. You got Monday Nitro's kicking your butt. You got this one night you're going unopposed, trying to draw as many people as you can. You want to show how unpredictable, and you can't miss an episode of Raw. So what do? You open up with the title change. Rocky Maivia beats Triple H, or Hunter. Excuse me. Yeah, Rocky Maivia beats Hunter Hearst Helmsley for the Intercontinental title.
Also
here
historic.
To open up the show. Very historic, very pivotal in their story going forward. Again, we'll see both those guys cross paths with Undertaker as we continue through 97, 98, 99, and so on. Very cool, but just a cool way. Vince, out of the gate, Vince comes out and says, we're going to do something cool. IC title. That changes up plans for the Final Four pay-per-view as well. Mm-hmm. And then, Shawn losing his smile. Bless his heart, man. Vince loves Shawn Michaels.
Oh, my gosh. It's hilarious, actually.
Yeah, it's so, people think Roman Reigns nowadays is shoved down your throat, and Vince loves him. Go back and watch this stuff with Shawn. I don't think the Roman Reigns stuff holds a candle to this.
He's got
I really
a huge
don't.
crush on Shawn Michaels.
He loves him.
He wants him. He wants to be him. I don't know. It's bizarre, man. It's fatherly, but it's also in love with him in a lot of ways. Yeah. It's the strangest thing, man.
Shawn is all that is man to Vince to me. It's just the epitome. This is 3 days before Final Four, changing up the whole pay-per-view here.
It is. So because of this, just real quick before we jump into the pay-per-view itself, this changes the main event, and the main event is no longer going to be for the number one contendership, but the WWF Championship is going to be held up for the next 3 days, and it's going to be put on the line in this Final Four match between Undertaker, Vader, Bret Hart, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. So Undertaker does get one little tune-up match with Savio Vega.
This is Undertaker's first.
Okay.
Yeah, the new member of the Nation of Domination, Savio Vega. New heel Savio. Same outfit as he used to have when he was a face, but got a black jacket over it.
So yeah. He'll
Again,
fight.
you mentioned in our Royal Rumble episode that Taker kind of has this side feud with the Nation, which is true. And you see it here. You saw it at that Royal Rumble Raw. You see it here. He's feuding with he fights Savio Vega, and he wins, and then he brawls with the Nation, and Ahmed Johnson comes in. I don't think Ahmed has his 2x4 here. I think he just has his butt cheek to help him, but and extra padding.
Padding.
Yeah. So
And then go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think we're gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, Undertaker comes out with Doc Hendricks to cut a promo before Bret Hart fights Vader. So just again, hard sell for this main event at In Your House Final Four. Yeah. Anything else before we jump into it?
So again, we mentioned that Sid was supposed to face Shawn Michaels on this Raw Thursday for the title. Now, Gorilla Monsoon says that's going to be moved to next Monday's Raw. Okay, so after Final Four, Sid will get the first title shot the next night. Because honestly, he's getting screwed here. He's not in the Final Four match for the title. But Gorilla says
he's still going to get his title shot.
He's still going to, which again, I appreciate the continuity there. They didn't just drop it from it's good. Good for him, I'm glad sometimes nowadays you get to kind of forget that. Finn Balor hasn't had a chance to redeem his. He lost the title by not losing, and he still hasn't got a championship match, and it's been a year and a half. At the time of this recording, he may have by now, but I doubt it. But anyway, yes, he's like, Sid's going to get his championship, so whoever wins Final Four will immediately defend it the next night on Raw. Again, look at the ratings. You're fighting against Nitro. You're going to guarantee your fans the next night on Raw, you get a title shot, a title match.
Yep.
That's cool, man.
That is good. It's
that's
important.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, that takes us in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, to In Your House Final Four from Chattanooga, Tennessee. I don't know of any other pay-per-view that emanated from Chattanooga, Tennessee, man. That's
not in this company. I mean, there's 1,000 from WCW.
Yeah, probably.
This is the UTC arena, man. UT Chat arena. So, and this is what's the date of this? I go back and look. February 19th, I believe. Is that right?
Makes sense. I didn't write it down.
February 16th. Excuse me. February 16th, 1997. Yep. So, In Your House 13, the Final Four.
Final Four. This is, I believe, unless I'm mistaken, this is our first time with just Jim Ross and the King on commentary for a pay-per-view match. Yeah. That historic combination that carries us through the Attitude Era, so that's pretty cool. And again, this just real quick, this kind of goes into what I've said about the last few In Your Houses, man. This is a one-match show. Because on pay-per-view, we get matches like Mark Marrow versus Leif Cassidy to open the show.
And Leif Cassidy didn't even have an entrance. He's just standing in the ring.
What?
Like a jobber. Yeah.
And then Goldust, Flash Funk, and Bart Gunn, that historic trio against the Nation of Domination. People paid money to watch that wrestling match. Well,
the next night you're gonna get a title match on Raw for free.
That's true, man. But the main event absolutely saves it. People have talked a lot about how in this era, WCW, their shows were like stacked from the bottom, and the main events would usually kind of suck. You had star power there, but the match quality itself with Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage a lot of times in their older years would not be as good. But on the bottom of the card, you had all the cruiserweights and Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, stuff like that. In the WWF, the undercard sucked. You had a lot of crap to sit through, but the main event would come in and save the show and have these awesome main events in this era. So this is a very top-heavy show, just like that. And yeah, we're gonna try to talk as much about this match as we can. But, this is one of my favorite matches of all time. Maybe it is an incredible main event. This Fatal 4-Way Final Four match. It's a little bit different, the rules, than a normal Fatal 4-Way because they're tying into this Royal Rumble connection. So people can be eliminated through pinfall submission or over the top rope. Right. So that's kind of a cool little twist in there. Like we said, we've got Undertaker, Vader, Bret Hart, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And
it's no DQ as well.
It's no DQ, no count out.
Yeah.
Dude, this match is just in a different world than so many Fatal 4-Way matches that we see. Because as I'm watching this, so many times you in these multi-man matches, triple threat, Fatal 4-Way, 6-man, whatever, nowadays, you'll have a little bit of action at first, and then what usually ends up happening is two guys will kind of go in the ring, and everybody else will go outside, take a nap outside. Roman sleeping, that famous thing from a few years ago, whatever match that was. But you'll have the focus on two guys, and then maybe they'll switch out, and the other two guys will sit on the outside and rest or get out of the way for a couple minutes. Not here, man. This is 30 minutes of straight action for all four guys. There is never a moment when all four guys are not fighting with each other. Two guys are fighting in the ring, two guys are fighting outside, then they trade off, but everybody is doing something the entire match, and it's chaotic. It's wild and crazy. It's going to be impossible for us to really do play-by-play for it.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about some of our favorite moments in there, but man, I can't say enough awesome things about this match. I feel like it doesn't get talked enough about, and if you've never seen it, absolutely take 30 minutes and go watch this match.
Yeah, well, fun fact for you, I had never seen it until I watched it for this. So I knew what happened. I knew the build-up. All this has been just fantastic for me to watch this build-up and stuff because, again, this is right before I'm coming in as a full-time fan again. I've seen a little bit casually here and there last few years, but this is where I'm about to come in as a full-time fan, as a little 11-year-old coming in here. And so this is awesome to watch, go back and see. And I want to talk about the set. There's no house set for the show here. It's weird because there always has been for the in your house. There's no house set at all, which is weird. But a couple of little promos. Austin gives a promo about spinning conspiracies and held down for 7 years and all this stuff. And Vader promo, he just kind of snorts into his camera. Taker says he's rediscovered his edge, which is kind of cool. I've rediscovered my edge.
Truer words have never been spoken. Yes, I have rediscovered my edge. Not all of it, but it's coming to me. The force that dominated the World Wrestling Federation in the early 90s is not far away. This spells doom for one Vader, one Stone Cold Steve Austin, and yes, even the Hitman. There's nothing you can do about it, gentlemen, so accept it and hope that I spare your lives. Because the World Wrestling Federation title will be mine, by hook or by crook. Get in my way, and I will annihilate you.
Again, that's just so cool because he's right. We talked about that. You guys that are listeners and loyal listeners, you can see he did dominate the early 90s. He may not have been at the top of the card, but he's almost always a featured spot. He hardly ever lost. He was just Vince's go-to guy, and now you got all these other guys, rising up. And again, as you talked about, Vince is going to go back to him because he's never going to let him down eventually. But it's just really cool here because he says, the guy that a couple years ago was dominating, I'm back and going to take everybody out of my way.
He also turns the lights off backstage.
Yes. I was going to say an addition to his character. He lowers his hands instead of raising them. He lowers them, and the lights go out.
Backstage, not in the arena. Yeah.
No. So he has a supernatural power to lower the lights backstage. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, before this, China makes her debut at this pay-per-view as well.
Yeah.
China debuts choking up Marlena, which is, again, pretty cool. This, again, in the history of the World Wrestling Federation here. So you ready to get into the match here?
Yeah, it starts off one thing I noticed in there, we get they show us the graphic with the Final Four rules on there, and just talk about attitude. Vader and Stone Cold both throw up double birds to each other. Man. This off like that is, we're just so used to that with Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I mean it's pretty wild and crazy here to see that on there, and really we're just used to Final Four matches in general, Fatal 4-Way matches, but this was one of the first of its kind. It may have been the first one that we've seen in the WWF, so this was kind of mind-blowing to see a match like this changing up the format for what we're used to in the WWF, so very, very cool.
Yeah. Very neat. And again, those double birds, JR apologized. He's like, I'm sorry, fans. Like, that's like reprehensible. We apologize. You shouldn't have to see that. But again, that would become to be a staple of Stone Cold's repertoire. But it's kind of cool. But yeah, talking about having attitude, when Vader comes out, he kicks the ring steps over. Austin's out. Again, getting in Vader's face. They're flicking each other off. Undertaker's out next. JR is putting this over. This is... Listening and watching this show, this is probably one of my favorite JR commentary jobs. It is so good. He's like fans, I wish you all could be here. This atmosphere. So he just putting over how important this match is because, again, now it's for the championship. It's the stakes have been raised. Again, it's the first that we know of Fatal 4-Way or whatever. He's just really putting over. Bret has an interview backstage right before he comes out. Just kind of he puts over everybody though. He's like, he that's one of the things to be if you put down your opponent, then when you win, you haven't beat anybody, right? That's the saying, But
right.
if you build your opponents up, then when you beat him, you've accomplished something. He does that here. He says I've faced these guys, they're all great. Puts them over. Then he'll go on to win, as we see. But then he's beaten somebody. He's beaten 4 guys, which is pretty cool. That's a smart babyface and heel tactic, honestly. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I wrote that down too later on in the match that JR and King are just on fire here. Man, they are at their peak. JR is just so into this match. Like, he's calling it. This is the type of match he was made for. And him and King are playing off each other great. The match starts with Undertaker and Vader pair off with each other, and Austin Hart pair off with each other first, which makes sense.
As they should, yeah.
Those guys have had the bigger feuds with each other, and Undertaker kind of dominates early, except he goes for the old school, which I thought was pretty silly in this match. Over the top, you get eliminated. But
exactly.
He's able to pull it off, and
he's confident in himself, man.
He is confident in himself, which shows because him and Vader go outside, and Taker boots a chair into Vader's face, which, okay, if you've never seen this match, you might have seen Vader's bloody eye and face before, and it is one of the nastiest looking cuts. Pretty sure that's just a hard way cut from the chair, and Vader bleeds like a stuck pig in this match. It is disgusting. His eye looks awful in there, but it just adds to the flavor of this match too. It adds to the intensity of it, and it ends up being really cool. But man, it looks nasty. I can't believe he fought through it. And I said on our last episode, a couple episodes ago, Royal Rumble 97, I think Vader deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and his performance in this match is enough to push him over the edge. I know his WWF career is kind of shaky. His WCW output and his Japanese output are enough to put him in the Hall of Fame. And as far as WWF goes, this match and his performance in it, it's Hall of Fame worthy. This is the best Vader we've ever seen in the WWF.
You're right, man. Absolutely. He's awesome here. Again, that cut on his eye is disgusting. Blood everywhere. It just gets worse and worse as the match goes on. It's so bad.
There was actually a cover of the Raw magazine. They had 2 magazines at this point. There's WWF magazine, and then there was Raw magazine. And Raw magazine was supposed to be the edgier magazine that they were putting out, more adult magazine, and it had a black and white cover of just Vader's face from this match, and then there was red blood, and it's just everything else was black and white on his face except the blood coming out was red.
Yeah,
and I remember that very vividly. So they made a big deal out of this.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, this match, it's a wild, crazy brawl game. We can't possibly do it justice doing play-by-play for everything. We'll just hit some hot spots here, though. Again, Vader's bleeding everywhere. They're back in the ring. He gets another chokeslam from Undertaker, which is good. Stone Cold hits I think he was going for a neck breaker, but it looks like a stunner.
Yeah.
And he covered, and I think JR says, he hits a modified stunner, which saves face here because Undertaker kicks out of it, which at this point, no one kicked out of the stunner. So that's pretty, JR covered that before what happened, which was neat. He's just so smart, what he says and what he knows, because Austin didn't get all of it, I guess you could say, and Undertaker was able to kick out, which is pretty cool. Vader and Bret are going at it outside with the chair. Then at this point, Austin and Taker are outside, and Austin's going for a pile driver on the concrete on the ramp, and Undertaker flips him over his back, and watching Austin take that bump on the floor. Again, we talk about Mick Foley. Austin's taking this unprotected, back bump on the concrete, and it's crazy, to see him do that. I just wrote here, Vader looks awful. There's just blood everywhere.
He does, man, but he's fighting through it. At one point, he just drags Bret Hart out of the ring, and to me, it's like an animal going for a prey, like it's feeding time.
Yeah,
he's just ready to beat somebody else up. Jim Ross has one of my favorite lines. We like to keep the show PG, but I'll just throw in the clip here. But Jim Ross says,
"Vader using that 450 pounds of mass."
Which this man calls it girth, but Jim Ross just, get rid of the analogy there. Just calling it what it is, man.
Oh man,
Such a
I
Jim
heard
Ross
that too. That was great.
I had to say that.
What a great Jim Rossism. Yeah, he's like the bear from The Revenant attacking
Yes.
attacking
That's a great
DiCaprio.
analogy.
You know,
Yeah.
he's just this bloody mess, just going after him. It's just it's great. They're working over each other. Earlier in the match, Bret Hart's working over Taker's knee, just like he did at Royal Rumble last year. Pretty cool to see Taker sells that knee the rest of the match. The rest of the match, it comes into play. We see Austin and Vader hitting each other with the ring bell outside, hitting with the title, I think, too. Didn't he hit him with the title?
Yeah, hits him with the title.
Yeah.
Vader even gets a freaking sharpshooter on Bret Hart on the outside of the ring. He puts Bret Hart in his own sharpshooter, which is just, what the heck, man?
Just
go for it.
Yeah, at that time, that was a big deal, putting somebody else in your finisher. Nowadays, it still kind of is, but it's not quite as. Back then, it was kind of new. He has to try for quite a while. It was they're kind of spinning around like a breakdance move at first, but he eventually gets Bret Hart in the sharpshooter, which is pretty cool to see. Lots of brawling again outside. Austin goes up top, hits a clothesline from Undertaker, which is neat to see.
That was pretty cool.
And then Austin does a Thez press on Vader's eye, and he's just pounding Vader in the face.
My gosh,
that bloody
man.
eye again. It seems real, man. It seems like a fight. It seems like these guys actually hate each other, and they're all have this attitude because they're all vying for the championship at this point. They're all kind of cutting corners and. Brawling, and it's not scientific wrestling match here, but it is awesome. This Attitude Era at its finest, and it has its pre-Attitude Era technically, I guess. But anyway,
Vader goes for a moonsault and misses. It's just nonstop action, man. I don't even know where to, what all to throw in here, but it's awesome. But eventually, the first person eliminated is Stone Cold Steve Austin. He gets his comeuppance. Bret Hart tosses him over the top rope. Austin unfairly won the Royal Rumble, and so now he's going to be the first one eliminated from this match, which takes us down to a triple threat with Vader, Hart, and Undertaker.
Yeah, I don't want to say now. And before Austin gets done, there are a few teases of people going over, just like in the Royal Rumble. Which again, we mentioned at the Armageddon Rules match, it had all these extra things, but there was not one quote unquote false finish. It just the match ended. Well, here you've got these extra rules. They do have false finishes. They have this almost going over the top rope, skin the cat type moves. Austin is typically the one doing it. He's typically getting thrown over and come rolling back again, but. Again, they do have these false finishes playing into the rules, which makes the crowd, amped up and into it, which is neat. So then when he finally does get tossed over, it kind of puts an exclamation point on it. Oh man, there were those hope spots, those false finishes. Well, here's the real finish. He gets stumped over. Before he gets stumped over, did you notice when Bret Hart goes to back suplex him, Austin does a backflip out of it?
No, I didn't catch that. I don't think I saw that.
Austin's going for a back Bret Hart's going for a back suplex. As he lifts him up, Austin hits a backflip out of it, which again,
nice.
Seeing Austin do a backflip, again, he's a different guy here, man.
Yeah.
It's before his neck injury, it's just a different guy. But yeah, he gets dumped out again, leaving us with a three-way with the Vader and Undertaker and Bret Hart here. Again, the only parts of action that are maybe kind of slow is them selling. It's not them waiting for the next spot, laying on the outside. It's them selling in the ring, selling the exhaustion, Taker selling his knee, that's been injured. Again, really cool
it
stuff.
Is, man.
Rest in peace chants. About 10 people start chanting rest in peace at this point, which is neat. So
and Paul Bearer is out there with Vader, and he ends up hitting the Undertaker with the urn on the outside.
Yeah.
And he does get in his catchphrase, "I'm Paul Bearer and you're not." He screams that out after he hits Undertaker with the urn. So he's still trying to get that over all these months later. That's great.
Awesome. Yeah, the camera misses that shot at first, and then you get a replay, and we get to see a good shot of him hitting Paul Bearer hitting Undertaker with it, which is pretty cool.
No
at this
DQ.
Point, Vader rips his mask off. He's like, "Screw it! I can't take it anymore." Takes his mask off, which just makes the blood even more prevalent because now it's the only red stuff on his face,
Exactly.
not the mask.
Vader goes up to the top.
Yeah.
Bret Hart stops him and hits a true superplex off the top. Both guys standing on the top rope on Vader. And I literally popped in the house when he did that. That was awesome.
It was insane. And did you notice how close it was to? Vader almost didn't make it.
Yeah.
He almost didn't rotate enough. I mean, how bad could that have been?
Oh,
because
who broke his neck?
He hits that. Yeah, it was awful, like how close they made it, but they made it, and it just looks so cool. Again, now we see that. Nowadays, we see Braun Strowman and Big Show do that, or Brock Lesnar, or big guys. We kind of take it for granted, but this was a huge spot in this awesome match. The ring didn't break.
No, Bret Hart's too small for the ring to break, I guess.
But it was really, really, really cool. So, sharpshooters on Vader at this point. Taker breaks it up. Austin
Which
comes
is so
back
stupid.
out.
Why did Undertaker break up the sharpshooter?
Well, and they commented on that. The commentary did. They're like, well, but they covered for it, just saying he just wants this all himself. He just wants to go at it. So they covered for him because they don't want anybody to look stupid.
They try.
Austin comes back out and beats up Bret Hart in the ring. Again, out kind of illegally, but it's no DQ, so it doesn't matter. Vader goes up for a Vader bomb. Again, the actual Vader bomb, not a power bomb. And Taker just kind of punches him. Could you tell? Did he punch him in like the gonads?
Oh yeah, it was a nut shot, man.
Yeah, okay.
Eliminates him with a nut shot.
Yeah, punches him in the beans, and he falls over the top rope. So he's eliminated.
Yep. So
now we're down to Bret and Undertaker here, which is cool.
And Undertaker tries to take out Steve Austin. Again, this is building up Steve Austin's character. He's just reckless, lawless. He doesn't care, doesn't obey the rules. He's going to do whatever he wants, so he keeps interfering. But Taker chokeslams him, or takes him out. He chokeslams Bret Hart.
Huge pop at that chokeslam, man.
Yeah. JR and King were popping in, like, it's over, that's got to be it. But Stone Cold won't stay down, and he tries to Undertaker goes for the tombstone, and Austin breaks that up and gets in the way of it. So Bret Hart.
Then Bret
go ahead.
Rolls Taker up for a 2 count,
yep.
And Austin's back up on the apron. He's like a little cockroach; he just won't stop. He just keeps coming back. He's up on the apron. So after the 2 count, Bret rolls Taker up for 2 count. Austin's on the apron. Taker knocks Austin off the apron, and then Bret comes behind him and dumps Undertaker over the top rope to win the WWF title at 24 minutes and 5 seconds. So no one took a pinfall, No one lost any heat taking a pinfall. They all got thrown over. In fact, Vader got a bean shot, and he got thrown over. So yeah, it's really cool, man. Really, really great match.
Yeah,
awesome.
I didn't think about that aspect about protecting everybody without taking the pinfalls, but that's a good point, man. Everybody still looks strong. I mean, everybody just looks strong coming out of that match. I mean, that match.
Yeah.
3 people lost technically, but all 4 guys look awesome coming out of it, and it's very hard fought. Great battle, great match, making everybody a star. Undertaker is pissed afterward and stalks Stone Cold out of the ring, so they're teasing more tension between those 2 guys. And then, as you mentioned, Sid's going to get the title shot the next night, and the show ends with Sid coming out for a little stare down with Bret Hart to tease their big matchup coming up on Raw the very next night. And that ends the Final 4 pay-per-view, the Final 4 match. Again, just such a stark contrast to nowadays, to the modern Fatal 4-Way type match. Incredible action. Incredible storytelling in here, and a must-watch, in my opinion. Maybe the best match we've covered so far.
I think so. Yeah. I think this is one of the best matches we've covered. This is my favorite In Your House match for sure that we've covered so far. And you know what? There wasn't one chant of, "This is awesome," or "You deserve it." There was no "This is awesome." There's no "You deserve it."
No.
It was awesome. Bret did deserve it since Shawn wasn't going to job to him or whatever it was. It was awesome. None of that. The crowd was into it the whole time. Again, 24 minutes of constant, just I don't know, it's just constant action. No, again, there are big spots, no table spots. There's a table spot in every Fatal 4-Way now. All the action was contained. It was in the ring or right around that ringside area. Just really great stuff, man. Really great stuff.
So we want to hear your opinion of it. Do you agree with us? Give us your feedback over on Talking Taker, at Talking Taker Twitter, at Talking Taker Instagram, Talking Taker Facebook page. Hit us up on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Podbean, YouTube, all those places. Give us your feedback, your comments. Give us a rating on the show as well. We would love to hear from you, hear what you thought about this match, and just about the WWF in general. Everything that's going on here, this craziness. We would also really love for you, if you're a supporter of Talking Taker, go check out our new store on tpublic.com. tpublic.com has our very first Talking Taker merch. That includes Talking Taker t-shirts, mugs, stickers, hoodies. You can even get a baby onesie over there. It's awesome. We have this new design with, our catchphrase, "Take her easy," that Travis says at the end of every episode. We've got a new design over there exclusively on our TeePublic store. You can get a t-shirt to support the show, to support The Undertaker. I mean, at least show your fandom. Undertaker's not getting any money off of this. I think he's okay. I think he's covered. But it's something, we got a little nod there to The Undertaker's history, to the history of the podcast. If this could be his possible last match coming up here, the end of his career at 2018. It's perfect shirt to wear for WrestleMania season, to celebrate what could be The Undertaker's last match, and to celebrate and help advertise the podcast. Even if you just get a sticker, that does a little bit to help us out, to keep the show running, to help us, at least break even for doing this podcast. So we appreciate all your support. We're not going to be mad at you if you don't buy a t-shirt, but man, it would mean the world to us if you did. Go check them out. They're pretty cheap. The price is not too bad on there, and we'll probably be running some sales over there eventually as well going into WrestleMania season. So go check it out, tpublic.com, and just search for Talking Taker over there, or you can check out the links on all our social media profiles as well. We're going to continue on through 1997. It's going to get really even more exciting next month, if you can believe it. We're going to cover in 2 weeks' time, we're going to cover the first ever Raw is War episode. We're going to cover the build-up to WrestleMania 13 as The Undertaker gets his WWF Championship match against Sid, how that comes together, their build-up, and Undertaker's first ever WrestleMania main event. We're excited to cover that. So just a little housekeeping note, that we're going to put that episode out the week of this year's WrestleMania 34. We're going to put it out on Friday, April the 6th. WrestleMania this year is on April 8th, so we're going to put our special WrestleMania episode out on April the 6th, which means that next week, we just thought it'd be cool to time it with that. So next week we're going to put in a very special bonus episode, if you will. We put a vote up on the Talking Taker Twitter about what type of bonus episode you might like to see us do. So we're actually going to throw out something really cool. The Undertaker's first ever DVD or Coliseum video. It's called He Buries Them Alive. So this is from 1995, I think is when it actually came out. I think it's
95, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really neat. They put it out on DVD, actually re-released it a while back, but you could probably find it on YouTube, find it in some other places. So we're going to cover that. Got a bit of a throwback a couple years ago. It's got a couple matches we've already covered, but it's also got some unique special matches on there, some really funny moments on there. Matches with Jerry the King Lawler, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, Quang.
Isn't that Savio Vega?
Yes, it is.
Before he hit Savio? Okay.
So we'll talk about that. Just a little fun detour. Talk about that aspect of The Undertaker. We can talk about Coliseum home videos and all that sort of stuff. So that'll be a little sidetrack. Detour.
A little detour on our way on the road to WrestleMania. Exactly. We'll take a little detour for a week.
Exactly.
And then that way, again, it lines up so we could drop that WrestleMania episode right before WrestleMania 34. We thought it'd be cool. We hope you guys don't mind. If you hate it and you want us to only cover pay-per-view matches, then let us know, please. We like your feedback. We want to give you what you want. We appreciate all our listeners out there. Please tell your friends, pass it along. Our numbers have I think we lost some people in the transition to Podbean. We hope you find us on all the available apps and stuff. We would like for you guys to spread the word. Again, follow us. We'll follow you back. And thank you to all our international listeners. We have a lot of folks listening from the UK, from Australia, from South Africa, other places. I apologize if I left your country out, but a lot of cool stuff. We really appreciate it. It's an international incident here on Talking Taker. We thank you so much. If you were here at UT Chat on Final Four, we want to hear from you. If you were there, if you saved your babysitting money for a whole year to go see this match, please, by God, let us know. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, take her easy.